Pakistani President Asif Ali Zardari signed the historic bill into law. It was military dictator ul-Haq who in the 1980s assumed several powers to maintain control of the government, including the power to dissolve parliament and appoint judges and the heads of the country's armed forces. Later, another military ruler, General Pervez Musharraf, used the powers to his advantage. These powers will now go to the parliament and the office of the Prime Minister. Marvin Weinbaum at the Middle East Institute describes the constitutional changes as historic.
It was one that the People's Party's government had to take. They had committed themselves earlier to this constitutional change.
Both leaders of the Pakistan People's Party, Benazir Bhutto and her father Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, stood their ground against military dictatorships. The father gave the country a consensus constitution, and Benazir Bhutto's approach for national reconciliation led to this reform bill that was drafted by both the ruling and opposition parties. Experts note the irony of the reforms being signed by President Asif Ali Zardari, the widower of Benazir Bhutto. Until his wife's assassination in December 2007, Mr. Zardari was best known for corruption charges against him. But he took over the party leadership and eventually was elected president. Analyst Weinbaum points out that since the reforms will allow Mr. Zardari to remain his party's chief, he will remain an influential power broker in Pakistan. But he says Mr. Zardari will not do anything to upset the army because the army chief, Ashfaq Kayani, indirectly controls the government.
If the army is in a position to assure itself that anything which is of interest to the army institutionally is going to be protected by this new dispensation of power, if that's the case, that the army has no strong motive to want to change.
And another analyst, Arif Rafiq, says General Kayani already controls the most crucial issues.
These are, relations with India, Afghanistan, China, Saudi Arabia, and the United States, the nuclear weapons, and then also relations with various insurgent groups inside the country, and then finally even the economy.
The amendment also says anyone, such as judges or other government officials, who helps to subvert the constitution will be tried for high treason. But Rafiq says this may not keep the Pakistani army in check if it really wants to take power.
It could potentially force the army, in order to avert some sort of repercussions against it and its supporters, to actually go for more of a full-fledged purge of the political class.
Most experts emphasize the reforms are good for Pakistan's fledgling democracy, but for it to take root, the politicians will have to address the key challenges Pakistanis face on a daily basis: inflation, soaring food prices, inavailability of jobs, and power shortages. Ravi, Khanna, VOA News, Washington.